Hi guys, and welcome back to another fly fishing video. So you join me with Ben Worley on Rutland Water, and we've come in the most unexpected conditions. It's a flat cam, it's currently 27 degrees and it's going to hit 29 later. So what do you do? What do you do? Jesus Christ. What do you do? The last chance of a desperate man. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Coming to Rutland Water is always a great pleasure. In my humble opinion, it is one of the most beautiful fisheries in the country, filled with character and a good head of fish. Unfortunately, I can't pick my days to come fishing and ultimately have to deal with the conditions I am given. The week leading up to my trip to Rutland saw unprecedented heat for the month of September. Back home in Surrey, the temperature was hitting 30 degrees on some days. When I arrived at the water, there was not a breath of wind. This caused the lake to become a huge mirror, which was amazing from the air. The Normanton church looked particularly stunning with the clouds reflected on the water.
Well, I'm lathered up with Factor 50 sunscreen and I've brought plenty of fluid out on the water, and you're going to need it today. Now, there's a couple of different approaches you could do when the weather's like this. The boat's not moving, we're not deploying a drogue, we're just out in the open water. So what I want to do is try and catch some fish in the boat. Now, how am I going to do that? I've started with sinking lines, and then I'm going to work my way up through the water column, and then hopefully try and find the thermocline where the fish are sitting. Failing that, we might have a wander up the south or the north arm, just prospecting the weed beds and trying to target fish that are in feeding on snail or other invertebrates. But it is going to be a tough gig today. We might not get anything at all, we just need to cast and hope is what I'm hoping for at the minute. One of the places you can come, and it's often frowned upon, is noddy fishing, but needs must. The last destination of the desperate man is the boils. And what you have here is readily available oxygenated water for the fish. So there is always a few fish in there. Now, a lot of people say, oh yeah, you go and fish the boils and it's a fish a chuck. But that's certainly not the case. Sometimes the fish can be quite difficult, it doesn't matter where you go. So what we're going to do is, for the next hour or so, we're going to concentrate our efforts on fishing the boils, and hopefully we'll be able to get a couple of fish into the boat. So when you've got a flat cam, you can pretty much stay on the boils. They will push you away, but it's simple to just use your engine to navigate back round into a position where you can get your flies right in the middle. It's not a guaranteed way of catching fish, but it's certainly one of the better options on a day like today. So competition for spot round the boils on days like this can be quite tight, but as long as everyone's sensible, there's enough boils in the reservoir and there's plenty of room on the water.
This is not for everyone, but if you absolutely have to get out of the house to cast a line, it might be your best option. The boils, as they are known, are actually large aerators. Aeration is a tried and true water quality management tool which adds dissolved oxygen to the water body, preventing the negative, often harmful side effects caused by a lack of oxygen. Without aeration, the reservoir could start to see a multitude of issues arise. For instance, there are 4 main symptoms that will appear when there isn't enough oxygen: excessive algae, pondweed, a bad odour, and finally dead fish, and nobody wants to see that. It's not pretty, but let's take a look at some of the fly patterns that I have had some success with over the boils.
Well, we had our fun on the boils, but then it was time to get down to some serious business. So we went back into the harbour and we had an ice cream. I did try and talk Ben into having 2 ice creams, but he was having none of it. So we've come back out on the water and we've come up to near the top of the South Arm. We're at Gibbets, and what we're doing is we're fishing the edges of the weed beds. We're on 2 different tactics. Ben's got a DI7 and he's fishing 2 humongous patterns in the deeper section of the water. I'm on a floating line and I'm fishing a popper fry, and all I'm doing is casting out to the weed bed and then popping it back and hoping that something's going to be attracted and come in and smash it. Guys, if you're getting value from the videos, please don't forget to give them a like, and if you would consider subscribing, I'd really appreciate your support. Well, despite Ben and I's best efforts, I didn't manage any action at all by the side of the weed beds. Ben did get a couple of encouraging dunts, just fishing off the edge of the beds, but it came to nothing. So we've come back to the last chance saloon. We're back at the boils, hopefully get another fish before we call it a day. But I've got to be honest, folks, if I had my time over, I wouldn't be spending it on the water today. Flat cam, 29 degrees of heat, and all I've managed to achieve today is I might have lost a couple of pounds in sweat, but that's been about it. A couple of fish to the boat. Now, a lot of people, they come and fish the boils as a matter of course. I don't do it very often. I can't call myself an expert, but I think the principles of fishing the boils is fairly straightforward, and I've done it as best I can. We've tried different lines, different flies, different colour, and we're picking up 1s and 2s, but it's a bit like back drifting, if you like. So I don't mind doing it occasionally. It's great if you want to get your string pulled, but for my money, it's not really fly fishing. It's like fishing in an aquarium, I suppose. You know, we know the fish are in there somewhere. We've just got to throw our lines in and hope for the best. That said, we're not catching loads. We're getting 1 or 2s, and it's the other boats that are fishing around the boils are in the same boat, so to speak. But that's fishing. Sometimes you just got to take your chance, get out there and try it. We've done it today and we've lost the bet with the fish. So that's it for this week. I'll see you all in the next one.